we talked about the 24 syllables that are there in Gayatri Mantra. We also discussed the origin of this mantra and who invoked it first and what that person used it for. Practically, Vishwamitra used it to become the universe himself, to have that constant connection with universal consciousness. So we have right brain and we have left brain. Most of us do. Now, left brain is responsible for logic, mathematics, responsible for calculation, and also chattering of the mind. Right brain, on the other hand, is creativity, art. It's vision, it's foresight, and so on. When you chant Gayatri Mantra, similarly, there are two channels in human body. There are three, but physically you can only trace two. One is called Ida nadi, also known as the lunar channel. The other one is called pingala nadi, also known as the solar channel. Solar channel regulates psychic heat in the body as well as physical heat in the body. It is when you breathe through your right nostril. When you chant Gayatri Mantra, yesterday I was talking about how it actually invokes or creates more heat in your body. It, in other words, actually boosts your right brain. It is very good for strengthening the right side of your brain. And I am even open for scientists to actually validate it, and I can demonstrate it under lab conditions. So chanting the Gayatri Mantra invokes the right side of the brain, which means it boosts your creativity, which means it improves your sense of well-being. Neuroscientifically speaking, if I was to numb your left brain and only the right brain was active, you will actually feel that everything is great in life. I forgot the name of that scientist from Harvard, brain scientist. She was a lady and she had a stroke. And when she had a stroke, it affected only and only her left brain. So she was paralyzed. It took her 8 years to recover. But during those 8 years, her right brain was more dominant. And as a result, she was kind of euphoric almost all the time, feeling great feelings of happiness and well-being. Because strengthening your right brain quiets the chattering of the mind, which predominantly originates from the left brain. So when you chant Gayatri Mantra, your right brain is strengthened. When right brain is strengthened, you get these bursts of creativity. You perceive things in unimaginable ways, because left is all about calculation. When conscious mind is engaged in calculation, it's right brain that steps in and say, no, but I can dream. I can really go far. How about I go to the moon, or I go to Mars, or I explore other planets, or I create this world, or create this piece of painting, or this piece of music, and so on. Historically, in the Sanatana Dharma tradition, the Vedic tradition, all sages were called poets. Kavvina Mushnakavi, Krishna says. Of the poets, of greatest poets, I am so and so. Because poetry requires creativity. And at that time, all arts was considered poetry in one way or the other. All sages were called poet. When Parashara Rishi gave the boon to Matsya Gandhi, on whom he fathered Vedvyasa, he said, the greatest poet known to the world will be born to you. And Vedvyasa then went on to compose many scriptures, as we know, all scriptures in a poetic fashion, which means they all had a meter, they had a rhyme, and you could sing them, and that was the way the oral tradition continued. Chanting the Gayatri Mantra in the olden days, people would always do it while standing in running water or some kind of river or lake. The idea was, if you are going to have excessive heat in your body, then you need some cooling mechanism right underneath so that the body temperature remains the same, but you only strengthen and invoke your psychic heat. Because we are not interested in invoking our body heat, unless maybe you live in a place like Toronto between the months of October and February. But usually speaking, you are more interested in invoking and strengthening and accelerating and heightening your psychic heat. Therefore, for beginners, it always helps if you are breathing from your left when you are chanting the Gayatri Mantra, which means ideally to keep that balance. Breathe from your left when you're chanting the Gayatri Mantra, and one way to breathe from your left is to just lie down on your right hand side for a couple of minutes, and your left breathing will kick in. If you lie down on your left hand side for a minute or two, the right breathing will kick in. Most people at any point in time are breathing either through the left nostril or through the right nostril. And one good way to check would be, if you were to just block one side of your nose, you can do that right now, and just breathe, maybe block right and breathe through the left. Exhale through both. Now block your right and block your left, and exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Exhale through both. Some of you might have experienced that it was easier to breathe through one nostril than the other. The one where you found it easier to breathe in, that is the current active breath. If you are breathing more through your right, you will have excessive heat in your body. Sometimes I meet people, they're very restless, and it doesn't apply to everybody, but a lot of the times they're very restless, and they come to me, they said, I cannot go to sleep, I end up dreaming a lot every single day, and almost always when I ask them to check which side of the nose they are breathing through, almost always they are breathing through the right nostril. People who breathe mostly through right are also going to feel more dehydrated. They are going to age faster. All your ladies out there? Okay? So here's the secret. So you are going to age faster because heat, as you know, dries everything. The key is to create that balance in your breathing. Breathe through your left or breathe through your right sometimes. If you are breathing more from your left, you can't go wrong. As it is, the kind of foods we eat these days, the kinds of lives most of us live, they are full of stress, they are full of heat for the body. So if you're breathing more through your left, you will have better balance. But I've seen women, for example, if those who are especially low on iron and some of the nutrients, they feel cold, more cold than men. If you feel more cold, feel free to breathe from your right at that point in time. The reason I mentioned all this, all these little things are going to make the real difference to your sadhana. Because it is not just about chanting. It is about understanding the science of chanting, understanding the science of sound that is going to help you reap the rewards from Gayatri Mantra.